Hi cuties, this is Shravya Pawar and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we will be speaking about the mistakes that we do and the actions that we take on our life goals or any other routine, as in fact. And also, the only problem with executing it is the way we think about it. So, let's get right into it. First thing, when we think about making an action and having to execute it, for example, if you have a dream and you want to set a goal, you can't break it in one goal, right? So you have to narrow it down to a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, and then gradually work your way downwards it. For example, if your plan is to have a long term savings plan, right? So you should be able to understand that savings doesn't happen in a day, right? So instead of you assuming that, okay, I'm working every day, I'm giving my everything, why am I not having the savings? So if you just think inward to yourself and understand that you might be spending on things that are not required, or spending very luxuriously on things that are not of any necessity to you, be it clothing, be it fast fashion trends, be it shopping due to the current fast trends that are happening, you can save on that, right? So you have to understand that actions only happen when you execute it, right? So that is one thing you should always have in mind. Action requires execution, not planning. Planning is important, but action requires execution, right? And the second thing is, stop complaining and giving excuses. I mean, seriously, I've seen people making many mistakes and not, understanding what they're doing and just repeating it again and again. If you ask, for example, if you ask sorry for a person for something that you did and you do it again and you ask sorry, it isn't gonna cut it, guys. So what you have to do is try to understand where that problem is stemming from. It can be in the smaller things. Maybe you go late, show up late for your work, and maybe you show up late for a party, and it happens again and again, and people will tolerate it only to some extent, and they're gonna always remember that you did that. So you can't give excuse every time, because making excuses cannot be excused all the time. You have to understand that giving excuses can only take you so far, right? So that is one thing. Making excuses cannot be excused. So you have to act upon it and be willing to correct yourself. So the way you think about it will change the outcome every single time. For the second time, if you're late and you're trying to go forward and be early, then you should plan your day the day before, and try to understand that, okay, you have to leave your house at this time, and at 0 hour you'll be there, and at 1 hour you'll be there, likewise. And also, another thing is, we generally spend most of our time planning, thinking, daydreaming, that we need some things, but we are not willing to work for it. And action without execution isn't going to yield results, right? So, and also, dreaming without quality outcome gives you nothing. You have to keep that in mind, guys, always. So you can't sit and daydream about you going to Galapagos Island, you going to Maldives, you going to Mauritius, you going to Paris. It isn't gonna cut it. You going to a small trip isn't, thinking about it isn't gonna cut it. You have to go, you have to make some efforts, you have to save, you have to plan, you have to see, which month you have to go. Saying about it isn't going to manifest it, but working on it will definitely yield some output. So that is one thing. Like, do not daydream. Even if you have to limit yourself, because daydreaming can be a little bit unhealthy in the longer run, because you're going to say you'll do it, but you're not going to do it anyway. So what's the point of daydreaming when you're not going to execute it, right? So that is one thing. And the next thing we will be dealing with is, you should not be over attached or under attached to things. And sometimes the things we have in our life, like, just sit for a moment and look around you and see how far you have come, right? So appreciation is the first step towards having a happy and good day. Okay, so if you break down what you want to achieve, you have to break it down in such a way that you should be able to reach your goal one day at a time, not, incrementally, rather than, okay, fine, I want to do this. So do not take decisions when you're angry, when you are fed up of yourself, or when you feel like, okay, I am not doing this, I am not doing that. Instead of thinking that, the way put it in action, put it in your life, and take that routine into your life, is on the fact that you have to analyze it day by day. So it may be in the smaller things, it may be in the things that will take you gradually there. For example, it can be you want to start reading, right? So most of the time, what we all do, most of the people who live in metropolitan cities, or we all have to travel a lot, commute a lot to go to work, right? So instead of looking at Instagram, you can just stop yourself right then and there when you're scrolling, and open a book and start reading it. It may be one page a day, it may be two page a day. When you do it on the longer run, you will be able to finish a book in a month. So that's great, right? So instead of looking at it in the longer approach, you have to see, you should not get attached to something over attached, which leads to addiction on the longer run, or under attached, which will make you take things for granted. So you should not be doing it, right? And the next thing is, you worry too much about what people think about you. We as human beings have socializing abilities, and we need and we require people around us to actually have a good reputation and good face, right? But it doesn't mean that you should actually give your entire life decisions, the way people perceive you, the way people judge you. You shouldn't take it too personally, guys. They're going to talk about you one day, and the next moment they'll be talking about somebody else. So why do you have to worry about it? If you know how truthful you are, if you know what commitment you're giving, if you know your baggage, if you know your story, why do you need other people to go and talk about you? It's just that simple. So instead of worrying about what people think about you, please look inward and see what you think of yourself. Because we have three different shells. One is our integrity, one is what we think about ourselves, and one is how we love ourselves. So if you keep these three things straightforward, and if you manage to crack it right away, you will definitely yield changes in the longer run, rather than just thinking about, okay, fine, this person told me to do this person told me to do that. Cut it off, cut them off from your life if that decision or suggestion or what they're trying to say is not helping you in any way. So leading to this will be, always choose things that you think is peaceful for your mind and soul, right? You should always think about the things that are helpful for you in the longer run and that bring you peace. For example, if going out with some person is making you feel really uncomfortable, if going out with another person is actually making you feel a little bit guilty, they might give you guilt trips, or they might discourage you, they might sarcastically pass you a comment which will break your humor, or your mentality, then don't hang out with those people, because you share certain kind of energy with them, and when you go and share it, it might be that birds of the same flock always fly together, right? So you have to understand your tribe, you have to select your tribe very consciously, because the people you surround yourself with will definitely have changes in will definitely try to bring you changes into your life. It may be their habits, it may be the way they talk. Unknowingly, subconsciously, you pick up on the little things that people around you do. And when you have people around you who demotivate you, drag your energy down, it isn't gonna work, guys. So just make sure that people you surround yourself with and opinions other people give, you should be the one who's gonna decide if they will be in your life, and if you should take it, right? And The other thing is, most of the time we assume we have time, and time is one constraint that isn't gonna work out pretty well if you're lethargic and very lazy, and you have, this introverted energy always, right? You have to understand, in order for you to function the optimum way, you have to be able to go out and get yourself out there, meet people, network. As one of the followers I follow always say, your network is your net worth, right? So you should always keep it in mind. You should be able to network in such a way that when people meet you, or when you meet other people, they should be able to remember you, and ask for your service. Or if you're good at something, if you're good at sketching, if you got a network, you might get an opportunity. You will never know when opportunity knocks your door, right? So you should be able to stop wasting time at home watching Netflix, watching movies, watching this, watching that. It's fine if you do it for a day or two. It's fine when you're doing it when you're rewinding your day, or when you have a lot of free time, you have a vacation. It's fine. But guys, you have to learn to go out and network, and get yourself out there, and do not think twice about it. I always say, the more you go out, the more approachable you become. And also the fear that you have in yourself, that, oh fine, when am I going to talk to them, how am I going to approach them, how am I going to meet this person? Because most of the people I meet, I always greet them with a good formal handshake. And let me tell you, out of 100%, only a couple, or like 10% of people know how to give a great handshake. So these are the smaller skills that you will require when you are reaching for a high potential job, or when you're meeting high potential clients, or when you're meeting people with high profiles. So you should always have it in mind that these tiny things, etiquette, as well as the chivalry, as well as the manners that you get, you slowly start to you slowly start picking up on them once you get yourself out there. So do not assume you have time, because time is money, time is very precious. You might have it today, you might not have it tomorrow. So better you get yourself out there than to regret it, guys. So that is one thing you should always remember. Do not think that you have time. And the other thing that we will be talking about is why people always think they can do this later. Like, it's sometimes not procrastination, it's sometimes your way of approaching. For example, if you think that, oh okay fine, I have a week time, so I'll do that later. And if you're gonna think, oh okay fine, the deadline for this project is somewhere around, like, what, next week, next weekend, so I'm gonna do it in the weekend. I mean, it's good if you are a person who can pick it up. But imagine if you're a slow learner, imagine you require a lot of study, imagine that work requires a lot of research. What you're gonna do? Who's gonna help you? Because you might think eventually your friends are gonna help, somebody else is gonna help, the Google is gonna help, the chat GPT is gonna help. Nothing's gonna cut it. So if you want to learn something, you will definitely have repercussions if you do not follow and set a timeline for yourself. So skipping it, procrastinating it, being a lazy ass isn't gonna make it. So you have to be able to plan your things. I mean, finish it and then, like, chill, do whatever you want, binge watch, binge eat, go out, network, communicate with other people, instead of thinking that you're gonna do it later. Your mindset, your peace of mind, your restlessness will actually become better and better every single day if you're just gonna plan it, get done with it, and then follow the next thing that is there. So always remember that if you think you're gonna do it tomorrow, that tomorrow will become today, and that today will become yesterday. So you just have to think and analyze, and create opportunities for yourself the day it has been given. Like, do your homework, do your research, do your work the day it's given, so that the day before it's being submitted, or given to, or the deadline ends, you'll be like, in a very peaceful state, and that way you will be very confident when you hand it over. You will be very over the moon happy, and you will not feel you wish you could have done better. That is what I have always been doing, and you should learn from this rather than thinking, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, right? So your anxious levels will increase and increase and increase until and unless you know how to tackle it. That is, do your work the day before it's being submitted. And the other thing that I want to talk about is how we engage ourselves, how we stimulate our brain with all the other platforms that are available for us. For example, the way we think about ourselves has been really different after all the social media, all the uh, technology got developed. So you have to keep in mind, you have to limit your screen time. Stop scrolling lazily. Like, I have seen people, they don't post on Instagram, right? They don't post, they do nothing, they're just always on Instagram. Like, guys, what is there in Instagram so much that you are willing to put so much energy into it, which you're not willing to put your curriculum or your life or whatsoever it is? Because as far as I can see, as far as I can tell, Instagram is for people actually who actually knows how to manage their time. If you are someone who just idly scrolls through Instagram or scrolls through YouTube, and these days YouTube shorts, I am not being very judgmental about it and trying to stop you from using it. But guys, please do have a limit, because it's gonna affect your dreams, your goals, as well as the way you're gonna see your life on the longer run. Because you guys not only don't understand the repercussions it comes, the results it yields, the consequences that you will be having after you start to regret it, right? So instead of regretting, please follow a strict schedule, like have a great timeline, set yourself some routines. I mean, slowly build it. Maybe if you are someone, like, go see your average time spent on Instagram. If you are someone who actually spends more than a couple of hours or more, you are in serious trouble, let me warn you. Because it doesn't only charge your brain with unwanted stuff, because you're scrolling through the reels, and it doesn't have any relation to you. You're scrolling through a meme, it will increase your dopamine, but until that level, you can actually put that energy into your homeworks, your research, your work, your course. I have myself experienced things that, if I have some utensils to wash, if I have my room to be cleaned, I'll be sitting on the couch doing nothing. I'll be scrolling through Instagram, and a couple moments later I realize, okay, fine, I'm doing this, but this isn't gonna cut me some slack, because I have to go, I have to work, because it's not gonna work itself, right? So the clothes are not gonna wash itself, the room is not gonna get cleaned, because as we talked in the first video, decluttering your space around you, decluttering the place that you live in, is the first step to actually approach a healthier and peaceful form of life. So you have to understand that if you want to limit your social media, it will be healthier for you and good for you, and it will do wonders for you in the longer run. So please have it in mind that limit your screen time, because studies have shown that if you are watching some meme in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be sleeping, if you are watching something in the at your during your bedtime, and it may be a meme or a joke or a reel which makes you laugh, it is basically, it is actually releasing dopamine in your brain, which makes your brain more active. And yeah, coming to that topic, please cut caffeine before going to bed, and please cut your blue screen time. It may be laptop, it may be, even if that is, please set it in, the warm light mode or whatever the nighttime mode it comes in, and try to keep it as far away as possible, so that even if you want to watch it, you will feel sleepy after some time, right? So for me, I ideally watch Netflix before I go to bed. And for that, what I do is I only have limited myself to watching documentaries which are related to nature. So I mainly look at David Attenborough and the Our Planet, that I can recommend because it's really good. It's informative at the same time. The slow movements will actually put you to sleep. Trust me, it works, because I have tried it with one of my friend and she fell asleep. So you can try it. Hey, if it works for you, it's fine. Or if something else works for you, that's great. Like, I'm happy for you. So please look into the screen time that you are watching. And the last thing that I want to say is, stop questioning everything that happens in your life, and stop looking at your thoughts in a negative way. If something goes wrong, or if you are trying to change yourself, if somebody tells you you can't do it, prove them wrong. Please do not tell people that you can you please do not let people tell you what you can and cannot do. All right? So I follow many athletes. I am a sports person myself, and I love betting on myself rather than putting all my blame or putting all my happiness or giving the credit to somebody else. So, by saying that, do not question everything that other people say to you, okay? But question everything that you do. For example, if you have a habit of gambling, if you have a habit of smoking, if you have a habit of drinking, I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to stop it right away, but what are you doing, right? Question yourself, what are you doing to change that habit? If you are someone who's scrolling Instagram endlessly, infinitely, if you are someone who thinks less of themselves, or if you are someone who want to think in a better way, who want to change, who wants to attract good things, who wants to network, go out there, who wants to communicate, ask yourself what you're doing wrong. So that way, when you figure it out, you're gonna be so happy that you bet on yourself and not on somebody else. And yeah, and just take yourself lightly, guys. Smile a little, wave at a stranger, smile at some random person, give somebody a chocolate. I mean, not in a like creepy way, but yeah, I always have chocolates in my bag these days, because I travel in metro for an hour and a half every day. So if I meet a kid, I'm like, do you want a chocolate? So take it. So yeah, enjoy the little things, and just live in the present, guys, and plan the present rather than planning the future. That way it helps a lot. By saying that, guys, I'm gonna end today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you next video. Bye.